Ladies and gentlemen, what is up, and welcome today to a video on my updated mastery setup in Marvel Contest of Champions. Now, if you've been following the channel for a couple of weeks, you'll know that before this we had a suicide mastery setup, and that was to farm a lot of arena and go for the Legends run. And now we're moving to something a little bit more mid-range. So the goal of this mastery build is to be kind of viable in every aspect of the gameplay, and mainly not give me completely when it comes to both Alliance Quest and Alliance War, which at the moment are kind of the main focus of my gameplay. So before I kind of get talking about my build and stuff, I want to give the standard mastery disclaimer, which everybody should do on their videos, which is pretty much like there's no one best mastery setup. It all depends on what you want to achieve in the game and also what roster you have. Like, for example, I've got 5 points in deep wounds, and that's really good for bleed champions, and I have some really powerful bleed champions that I quite regularly use. However, if you don't have any or many strong bleed champions, then that's not going to be a very good mastery for you to have. So as a little bit of a disclaimer, again, it depends on your setup, what you want to achieve. There are ways to tweak builds and move points around to, you know, beef up your Alliance War defense. If you want to add points in something like Mystic Dispersion, if you have a lot of characters, it's good for that. But that's pretty much the disclaimer, guys. Is this is just my setup for what I have at the moment, and you know, we're gonna make it work. So this is so offensive. If we're looking at the point breakdown, we have 35 points in offense, 16 in defense, and 8 in utility. So I want to talk about my offense at the moment and where some points may not be super optimally placed. So I think all of it, apart from like free nodes, are pretty staple for the setup that I have at the moment. I have kind of overspent in free nodes, and those nodes are lesser precision. I really do want to drop down to just 1 point in this. Having additional 2% crit chance, I think, is pretty good with some characters, especially, you know, if you play Scarlet Witch as much as I do. I guess like in the last few months, we've started to rely on Scarlet Witch a lot less, so it's become a little bit less important. But yeah, I mean, 4 points for 2% crit chance is okay, but it's not like super phenomenal, so I'm looking at removing some points from that. Maybe looking at dropping 2 points from Pierce as well, and then also 2 points, or maybe all 3 points from Courage. I'm not entirely sure about this mastery. It's one that I'm toying about with a little bit, and I want to kind of put those points in the future in maybe 5 out of 5 Assassin. The problem with Assassin is it's a really expensive mastery to unlock. It's going to cost, like, I think it's 4,800 units for like all of the tiers of it, so it's pretty expensive. It's something that we're kind of saving up for at the moment, and then I'm probably going to shift some points from those nodes that I just mentioned into Assassin, and also probably look at building the rest of those into Mystic Dispersion. So in terms of the future, that's kind of where I see my mastery builds shifting a bit toward, because those are kind of a little bit luxury, and it's also possible that I might drop some points in deep wounds to maybe fully max out Mystic Dispersion, because 5 out of 5 deep wounds is amazing. It's so much fun, and I'm really enjoying playing Gwenpool at the moment. Play a lot of Gwenpool, so I'm just kind of have that fully maxed out, mainly for her at the moment, and a few other champions like X-23, Captain America has a really great synergy with as well. But with, you know, a lot of the god tier champions like Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, Star-Lord 4 that I regularly play, you know, deep wounds doesn't have like any impact on that at all. So it's really about, you know, what you want to focus on with your mastery setup is probably the core thing that I'm trying to communicate here. So that's what I have in terms of my offense. You can see the setup there. I really like Glass Cannon as well as a mastery. I don't think maximum health is too valuable when you know, you can play fairly well. It's just all about being able to evade, parry, and intercept well. So I like the trade-off for damage there. I like having 3 out of 3 Despair as well. I find that quite valuable, although it is something, you know, some people don't like and you could potentially drop. But I really do like some of the more insane synergies you can have with that mastery with characters like Gwenpool, who have a lot of debuffs. And then when we look in defense, so mainly the defense tree at the moment is to beef up my champions for Alliance War defense a little bit more and increase the regeneration and provide a little bit of stable health gain from encounter to encounter. I really like Salve and Recovery, and they're pretty much stepping stone masteries to willpower, and I don't really see a more effective way to redistribute those. So I'm pretty happy with my defensive setup for the most part. I really like salve, especially when it comes to doing Alliance Quest and some of the challenges. It's just nice that, you know, in the first minute of the fight you can regenerate like about 700 health. That's a couple of really cheap health potions, and it does kind of come in handy for keeping your champions topped up here and there. And willpower is like amazing. Well, it's really good to have for Alliance War Defense, even in 1 point, because it helps beef up your defensive champions a bit, well, quite a bit, because imagine if you've got like a champion, we're in tier 1 of Alliance War at the moment, so everything gets heavily inflated to between, it's roughly about 50,000 to 200,000 health. So, you know, even if we look at the scenario where it's 50,000, like 0.5% health per second, that's still like 250 health every second for every debuff on the opponent. So, or for every debuff on, you know, your defending champion. So it can be quite valuable. I really do like willpower, so yeah, have that. But, you know, there are scenarios where, again, if you do want more damage output, that you could potentially drop points in there. I mean, if you're going for the Suicide Masteries, you probably do want to have willpower, but it's kind of like a nice mid-range build. And then when we look in the utility tree, so obviously have Limber, and then Parry and Dexterity, very key masteries to have. Only 1 point in Dexterity. I don't see the point in going full 3 out of 3 there. So we also have the increased stun duration, 3 out of 3 in Stupefy. Really like that mastery. So 3 points that I've dropped as well. Petrify. Again, I put the points in like more of the crit damage, crit chance, armor pierce, and also a damage below 20% health. However, I'm not really too sure about that. I feel like I might swap the points that I have in Encourage around for the points in Petrify. I think that might be a little bit better overall, and also gives me a stepping stone to go into Mystic Dispersion. So, I mean, there's a lot to play about with still, but that's kind of a rough idea to give you guys an idea of what I'm running with at the moment. But again, I see kind of this Mastery build kind of evolving a bit more into Assassin and also Mystic Dispersion, because those are 2 masteries that I really want to play around with to actually see, you know, how good they are, how useful. And I feel I've got to the point in the game where I feel like I can quite confidently manage playing with Mystic Dispersion on a lot of my Mystic characters. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving into that mastery. Maybe tomorrow, maybe like a couple of days after. I just need to get some of the more of the Mystic cores, and we have plenty of loyalty to do that. And I believe it is Friday that they appear on the store. I believe it's like a day after the event that the class catalysts are available. So it should be tomorrow for the Mystic cores. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully that gives you an insight into my current mastery setup and build, and hopefully you enjoyed it and maybe learned something a little bit new. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a thumbs up. That'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, take care and have an absolutely fantastic day.